Hello guys, welcome to my channel Code and Chill. In this video, we'll discuss about Pytest framework and how you can write small, readable, and scalable test cases using Pytest as a base framework. So it is available in the original Python package, and you can simply download it by using pip install Pytest. And let me show you the code, how the Pytest functions are written, and what are the naming conventions for it. So over here, we have created a file test underscore func.py. So one of the main important convention that you should remember while following the file's naming convention is that it should start with test underscore, or it should start with the file name underscore test, like test underscore or at the last underscore test. Then PyTest will understand that this is the test file and to be used for execution. And similarly, we will create three functions for testing purpose, and I'll show you the code for that. So let's start with this. First of all, we'll import math module. Since these are some mathematical basic functions, the first function would be square root function, test underscore sqrt, and it will just do the square root of the numbers, like number is equals to 25. I'm just giving hard-coded values. These are just basic functions, and we will use the keyword assert. So what assert does is it checks for the condition, whether the condition is true or false, and similarly verifies the condition. Like if the statement is true, assert will return the whole function is true in a sense. So assert is the main function, main keyword used for this Pytest functions. So assert math.sqrt, and we'll pass on the number variable, and we'll just try to assert it with a value, like whether this math.sqrt of this number 25 is actually equal to 5, and in this case it is true, then assert true would return true as a whole. So that's what assert does. So we have our first function, and one of the main convention of writing the function conventions, naming convention, would be test underscore function name. So this is how you should follow. Like if you remove this underscore, then it might detect in some cases. But if you don't apply the test keyword or something, suppose it is te underscore sqrt, then PyTest won't be able to pick this function as a testing function and won't be able to execute this. So test should be provided. I'll show you this in another example. So let's have another example. So another example would be test. Let's remove the underscore part. Test square, and we'll just simply square the number. Suppose number is equals to 7, and we'll just try to assert whether 7 multiplied by 7 would actually be equals to suppose 40. In this case, it is false, since 7 multiplied by 7 would be 49. But we are trying to compare it with 40. So in this case, assert should give us a false value, and it should fail the test case. And in the last case, we'll just have a simple equality check. And in this case, I'm intentionally providing TES, not TEST. Like I'm just omitting the T part. So just equality. Yeah, sorry for the typo. Yeah. So in this case, we'll just check for equality, whether 10 is equals to 11. So it's just a direct check whether it is equal or not, which in this case it is false. But anyways, this function won't be executed because we haven't provided the test keyword. So let's try to execute it. And for executing the PyTest file, you need to invoke PyTest keyword. And as you can see, uh, over here there are lots of information. Let me go through this. So PyTest eventually collected two items, which means two functions, and the dot over here represents that it is executed and it passed. So our first function passed, and there was a failed condition in the second function. So as you can see, it is failed, the second one, which is this. Let me just drag it down a bit. Yeah. So over here, this test square, since this condition was anyways false, so assert statement gave false, and it failed. Assertion error. And the third case didn't execute at all, since the Pytest framework couldn't pick up this function. So if you just modify it to test underscore equality, then you should be able to see the result of all the three cases. So as you can see, both of the last functions got failed, since anyways their assertion was failed, like they didn't match with the expected output, but it got executed. And there is another, like if you want to get a more detailed version of the output, you can provide pytest -v. It gives verbose output, which is a kind of more descriptive format. Like it will tell you which functions passed, which functions failed. So this is quite a good way of representation, and it also indicates which line actually got failed. So these are very basic functions, so you won't like understand the power of that. But if you start writing your own web frameworks or own automation frameworks, in that case, these error lines would be very useful to debug the functions and write better code, like which cases are failing, and you can debug those cases and write fix this code in probable. So I hope you understand and you got the overall gist of how Pytest functions and framework overall works. And I hope this video was helpful to you. So thank you.